Hey, welcome back, guys. All right, so let's get into this signs and symbols video. I'm sorry that this didn't come out when it should have. I like these to come out at 5 a.m. There was a glitch that made that impossible, but I didn't want to miss out on our chance to still put one out. All right, so we have a couple of different messages here that are kind of starting out with an overall vibe of intention, but not really knowing if this is the wisest choice. We may have a divine masculine, possibly an emperor, who is single and abundant, but really significantly missing the thing that he wants most. He doesn't know if it's an intelligent choice to make to, I'm gonna say, to reach out to a feminine. We have this card of hope. To me, we keep seeing this feminine who's in these long draped kimonos. We could have a feminine who has like a really lovely dressing gown or robe that she wears, or even not lovely, but let's say comfy and cozy and favorite. But that gives her kind of a bit of a high priestess vibe or an ethereal vibe here. This divine feminine, I don't know if he particularly thinks of her in that context, remembers her in that, robe or that kind of like ethereal garment, but obviously he actually looks a little bit haggard to me. Powerful, yes, but lonesome. I would say deeply lonesome, even though he's got so much success behind him. You notice that we see him like a little groundhog underneath the ground, underneath the root system. He's got his home, he's got his power, but he's by himself and he's kind of curled up, fetal position. I feel like this masculine's been sleeping alone for a long time. Why is it that you don't know if it's a good idea to reach out to this feminine? Where is that question mark coming from? We have got, okay, Soldier of Fire kind of at a sideways angle, so that would be the Knight of Wands. We have the Seeker, and we have the Two of Swords here. I would say he doesn't know if this is such a hot idea because although he's interested in her, he may worry that either maybe he himself is like, I might just be wishing for, some warmth to keep me warm, for a night or two. What if I'm not really ready for a long-term commitment? Or he's worried that he's already been blocked out of this feminine's life for this previous behavior, where he's arguing he wasn't exactly a Knight of Wands, but he's also saying he wasn't exactly not. He's kind of having that coming to Jesus moment of asking himself, what is it that I'm really seeking? He may have messed some things up with her if he already knows her, already dealt with her. The thing is, nobody but her will do in this equation, right? But I'm wondering if he has a habit of wanting what he wants from people, but not necessarily reciprocating very well in return. Let's get another card here. Tell me, why do you have the Two of Earth, or excuse me, the Two of Air, the Two of Swords there? Pisces energy. So he definitely kept his emotions all locked up. She, again, going from being ethereal to being a mermaid, he has a vision of her, of being somebody that represents kind of like the thing he always thinks is elusive, the thing he can't quite access the most. I mean, let's put it this way. He finds her very beautiful, very attractive. Now, bear in mind, this doesn't have to be a masculine thinking about a woman. This could be same sex, but we're going to keep saying she because that's what we keep getting. But he sees her as something like a new beginning for him, but in the past, he kept his emotions and his heart in, this iron scuba diver's suit. It's like he always felt like he couldn't walk in her world. So he may have tried to connect with her in the past, but told himself the only thing I can ever do is moonlight in her life. By the way, looking at the moon, crescent moons, maybe he spends a lot of time, maybe he works nights or something, maybe, because we always kind of see him like exhausted by the light of dawn. We see him under the ground in the dark. We see him at night in the dark, sitting on the moon. There is an epic loneliness coming off of him. Then we see him deep down at the bottom of the sea where it gets really dark. Even here, it's gray skies. It's almost like he says, I'm never able to get into the light. All I can do is pop in like a visitor, but then I can never stay. So I do think he came into her life and didn't last very long. He may have very lovely eyes, very noticeable eyes. He's aged since last he dealt with her. Whenever he dealt with her before, he had to have been quite a bit younger. His face has significantly aged, but it could also be the emotional state that he's in. Look, he has financial success and wealth, but when it comes to emotions, it's like he's never found a way to like really feel like he could live in an emotional state. He's always felt like he's chasing how other people can emit emotions, and particularly her. She could be a Pisces, does not have to be, but he could also be older than her. We do have 61 on that Pisces card. Holy smokes, what do we got? Okay, we got Scorpio, we have 4 of Wands, and we have Leo. So we're getting a flood of other energies coming in here. So in regards to him keeping his emotions on lockdown, I do not know what the complexity was here, but we do have strong Scorpio, and this is I almost feel like he was incredibly sensually attracted to her. I mean, this is passion, this is sensuality, but then the 4 of Wands was there. This is the person he would have married. This is the person he would have married. This is the feminine he really, really wanted. Then what was the obstacle? I don't understand. Why did you not let yourself pursue seriously a connection with this feminine who is, for you, unlike any other? Logic. Okay, so when logic takes over, that can ruin things. You know, we like logic on one hand, but they can be dispassionate. And logic, what's logical, we think is like, well, if it's logical, then that's better than emotional. Not necessarily. We have Legend, and we have 10 of Air. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first off, he decided to end a connection with her. He specifically decided to do this. He decided he was, for whatever reason, he terminated this connection with her completely. Maybe because he was so passionate about her, and he was like, this is going to derail me from my pursuit of this other career path that I have. You know, with Legend, you know, we're talking about somebody who had this idea that he absolutely had to, you know, well, in fact, okay, so I'll read this. Augustus F. Norwood, born 1897, was a scientist, inventor, and occult researcher. You hold in your hands a faithful reproduction of his attempt to update the Mantega into a modern American vernacular. Science itself, he wrote, has proven to be that science by itself cannot provide the answers that I am seeking. On the night of September 24th, 1936, Augustus Norwood walked out of his workshop and was never seen again. It feels like, when we put that together with the 10 of Air, 10 of Swords, this says, you know what I think happened with him? He got mind-boggled by the fact that he was crazy nuts about this feminine. Wanted to marry her, super passionate, couldn't even explain what is this powerful, powerful bond. So he logicked his way through it and said, I cannot understand what this is, so I think I'm just going to walk away from it. You know what I think? I think maybe love was something he was unfamiliar with, and it blew his circuits. I think he couldn't accept that love is one of those things that's really hard to explain. Deep passion and desire. He may have been finding himself like going through emotions that he hadn't felt before. Like, this can be jealousy and passion and love. This is like, I almost feel like she was driving him crazy because of how much emotion he had for her, and because he couldn't make sense of, why do I not seem to have complete control over my otherwise orderly emotions? you know what? The only thing to do is to take her out of the equation by walking away from her, so now she cannot impact my emotions. And I'm thinking that that's what he did. He did this some time ago, perhaps. He certainly could be a Libra, even though we have him as an Aries, but I'm just saying because of that birth date there. So he walked away from her. And it's so funny because this almost looks like a symbol of, great mystery, kind of like the eye with the pyramid, and the goodness we even see on the American dollar bill. It feels like there is a sense of mysticism around him, but I think he put this air of mysticism into something that is actually very simple, which is, darling, you were just simply in love with her. You were nuts about her. That's it. There's no hidden secrets. That's what love is. But I'm thinking he hadn't felt that before, and it blew his circuit board. So he decided, because he didn't enjoy the huge amount of emotions that he experienced, because he's used to suppressing things. He's used to keeping things very tightly tied down. He couldn't do that with her. So he decided to move on from her. If I'm that passionate where I can't handle the amount of emotion I have for her, then let me just stay away from her. So let me ask, did that work for you, character? Did that work for you? By the way, seeing feathers could be some things that he notices. Those could be like every time he thinks of her, there could be either, the feathers and bird songs. There could be songs that remind him of her. When I asked, did that work for you? We have Courier of Fire and we have the Selkie. No, he has, if anything, about 1,000 times, he has nearly reached out to her. About 1,000 times he's written something that he almost sent. This would be like the Page of Wands, and it's like 10,000 times he's got this parcel, this message under his arm, and our pages are our messengers. He has, none of his passion for her has gone away at all. In fact, if anything, he's been more mystified and wanted to know how she felt about him. He doesn't understand her. The Selkie, the mythology around the Selkie is that it's a woman who is also able to slip out of her female human energy and become the seal that she actually is, or perhaps I should have said that differently. It's a seal that can come up on land, slip out of the sealskin, and be a human woman, but ultimately tends to return back to the sea. There's this duality to her that he's wanted to know, how is she handling this? Which is really, I'm not going to say that that's particularly kind or anything, but it's like he wants to know, how are you handling the fact that I left you because there was so much emotion that I had for you? Did that bother you? How do you feel about it? I don't understand how you operate. I kind of feel like he's been so ice cold logic that he can't quite connect to his own emotions, even though he has them. Maybe she's the only person who ever woke up those emotions in him. And now it's he has the discipline to stay away from her, or he has up until now. But at this point, I don't know, is he about to reach out to her? Is he about to say something to her? Or is he just sitting in this energy of continual wondering? We have the earth energy. Look, the wheels of this brain have been turning. Earth energy is when we're bringing it on home. It's about time. It's almost like he can't bear to keep his thoughts held away from her. He may have built a business dealing with things that like machinery, mechanics. He may operate like very much in a scientific mindset, but he abandons things that don't make sense, so he only focuses on things that do. And I feel like that was his like methodology his whole life in the way he operates. But with her, because all of a sudden there were emotions, and that was something he couldn't comprehend, he just tried to compartmentalize, set it off to the side, and stay away from it. But he can't. Why can't you anymore? Why are you unable to do this? Is this just because you're getting older and you're understanding more? We have a 10 of Pentacles with this kind of sideways energy, and we got this little girl with like a honey pot. We've got the image of someone who sits here. 10 of Pentacles is oftentimes about family. And I think there is some element, maybe as he's aging, that he's realizing, you know, I haven't actually either built a family. I think he's kind of been solo. This seems like someone who's been existing just for their business for a very, very, very long time, maybe their entire life. And at this point, as they're aging, they're wondering, what is my legacy though? What is, you know, how do other people do relationships? I feel like business isn't enough for him anymore. Now he wonders about connections. Now it's even a desire to like talk to somebody, share energy with somebody. And of course his mind turns to her because that's the one person that he really shared something with. He's never forgotten her. That's why he's always in the background in this. I don't know if he keeps a photograph of her or vice versa. I almost wonder if he's got this idea of what would it have been like to like have a child with her, raise a child with her. Mayor of Water, he still is only halfway there on the world of emotions. He's still, his emotions are his greatest kryptonite because he fights it all the time, but he has way more emotions and he's starting to wonder about what to do with those emotions. What are you going to do? Let's wrap this up. What are you going to do, character? Mayoress of Water, he's starting to wonder if maybe he could learn something from being around her. Maybe that's the way his logical mind is trying to come up with a plan for how could I justify being with her when I don't understand what these emotions are. And I think he's almost saying, well, wait a second, maybe I could say that perhaps I could be with her because he's got to make a logical reason. I could make this into a scientific experiment where I could see what it would be like to have emotions with a person, and I could tell her, like, let's experiment with this. This is so crazy. He's still trying to figure out how to justify having emotions for her. That's what this comes across as. How can I justify having emotions? Well, maybe this is the thing that I should now explore. I've explored business. I've been successful. That whole emotional thing I have never explored, but I would like to, and so I could turn that into an adventure, and that would justify me being able to reach out to her and try to connect with her. He still doesn't know if this is a good idea. Final message on this. Taurus, now we're getting to it, okay? He has thought, if I have anything to do with her, she will own me. She will put me in an emotional, she'll put my heart in an emotional headlock. She will have total control over me. That is what he has feared all this time. Yet that is what he's starting to realize has already happened all this time. She has owned his heart all this time. He's never been free of her. He's staying away from her. That didn't help. This consistently, slowly but surely, it is ever since he met her, however long ago it was, she has owned his heart. He did not want anybody having that kind of power over him. That was the thing he feared most, is I cannot let anybody else have sway over me. My emotions, I've always been able to turn off, be emotionless, be calculating, be business-minded, be logical. But with her, she has some kind of power over me. He's been so afraid of surrendering to that all this time. Symbols for him, for the day, particularly for him, like coming to this realization, could be things like blooming flowers, specifically roses, possibly azaleas, possibly mums. The crescent moon comes up multiple times, so the images of a crescent moon. This is like him only half accepting what he knows to be true and not wanting to admit to her. I don't know if he watches wrestling or something like that, but seeing somebody put someone in a headlock, I feel like he's always tried to fight letting anybody have like an emotional pull on him. letters, packages, postal parcels, that can also be signs for him specifically today. Umbrellas, a rainy location is also possibly a sign for him today. And anything that he likes to dissect information and put it into little blocks. We have it here, we have it here, we have it here. Anything that's like little tiny pieces of data or information that all fit together, grids, maps, categories of like numbers, like maybe he worked in accounting or something, but all of those are symbols for him today that are helping him to maybe explain how his own mind works, what his fears are, and what he has been drowning in all this time, no matter what. And then something about long robes, night dresses, night gowns. He thinks that's very sexy, by the way, about her, but he also thinks she's incredibly intelligent herself. But her kind of intelligence is so different than his. That's the other reason it's like he was trained, don't let a woman, don't fall for a woman, because man, they'll just own your heart and then you'll never be free of them. And it's like somewhere in his subconscious, he really took that to heart, that negative lesson that somebody might have told him about, and he's held on to that and really thought that that was true. I think he's only just now at a point where maybe he can shake that off, but it's mostly because, look, there is an element of him where I think this has been taxing. Either he's aged because he's stayed away from his divine counterpart, and it's really costing him energy to do that, or he simply this has gone on for years, he's avoided love, avoided emotions, and it has, the years have passed. But I will say, seeing himself as an older individual, he may notice that he has graying hair. He used to have dark hair. He may notice more wrinkles. He's very sexy. He's very hot, but he definitely is someone who's maybe critically looking at himself, and he could be envisioning himself getting older and older and older, and wondering, how come, like, in all this time, my thoughts of her have never. It's already too late. I was in a headlock, an emotional headlock, as soon as I met her. I'll never be free of her no matter what. So maybe I could explore emotions, but I'll try to turn it into a, let me think of it like a scientific experiment to explore emotions. It's like that he still keeps trying to distance himself from how incredibly powerful the emotions actually are within him. Here's what I would summarize and say. If this is a divine masculine who has not ever connected to anyone at this emotional level, that alone would be tremendous and overwhelming. But then we added in a specific kind of masculine who has so stringently only used their mind in a logical way. So this has, again, blown their mind that they could have these emotions. They haven't had this for anybody else in their lifetime. So this is particularly disruptive for them. Hey, good luck to this character now that he's realizing this, because I think he wants to surrender to love while still fighting with what it is. I don't know how much success he's going to have, but we're going to leave the story here because that's for him to continue to try to sort out. This is the big truth, though, in this story for him, that she has always had his heart, and he has never been the same since, and he's never been whole without her because he's always been connected to her from the day he met her. That's a big revelation for him to acknowledge in himself. All right, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you didn't already know this. I tend to always put these out at 5 a.m. Today it was just an exception of necessity, but thank you guys for hanging with me. You'll find all of my other zodiacs and everything under the playlist for whatever zodiac you're looking for. I do all 13 zodiacs. I tend to put out 2 per week for each zodiac, so there's lots to choose from. You can also check the live tab because I typically live stream my content, except this, which I upload as an uploaded video, and I did do an uploaded Libra bonus today. All right, take care. Bye.